Today's guest is a person who stands outside of hurricanes, interviews emotional strangers, survived internet comment sections, and somehow still look calm while the world is falling apart behind them.
So you wanna be, let's talk what it takes. No shortcuts here, just risks and mistakes. Real ones built it from grit, not luck. So you wanna be, level up, level up.
Everyone, welcome back to another episode to So You Want to Be, on the show where we break down careers, real money, real stories, and the truth behind what people actually do for a living. Today's guest is my dear friend, Carlos Baine. How are you, Mr. Baine?
Doing great, Jacques.
That's good. Tell everybody what you do, or what you used to do.
What I used to do is I was a television reporter for years.
Okay.
And worked in many markets, worked in big markets, worked in small markets. You work your way up. You start off in relatively average size cities and then work your way up as you learn the ropes, as they say.
A news reporter. So today we will be breaking down how he got started, what school you should go to, how hard it is to get into media, what really happens behind live television, and some of the craziest stories he's ever covered. If you ever want to get into journalism, broadcasting, reporting, or even media, this episode is definitely for you. And Mr. Baine started off, what originally made you want to become a news reporter?
I always liked current events. I always liked reading. I always liked staying in touch with what was going on in government and business and social issues. And it was always a topic that I would speak about with family and friends. And it was a natural step to go into the news for me.
Okay. Was there a specific moment where you realized, I want to be on TV talking to thousands of people?
There again, just the idea of expressing your ideas and learning new things and talking with people who knew what they were talking about in responsible positions. That was something that was a natural step up for me.
Okay. Now, so anyone that's listening in or tuning in and they want to be a news reporter, what major should they be studying in? Like, how would they start?
In most schools, it is journalism, in some cases specifically television journalism or print writing for magazines, blogs. Now everything's on the internet.
Right.
So those would be the two routes to go.
Okay. Do you need college to get into to become a news reporter?
Yes. To reach the higher echelons, you need to go to. I went to the University of Florida and graduated from there with a degree in journalism / telecommunications, which was the focus on the television reporting aspect of it.
Okay. What schools or programs would you recommend for someone that's serious about journalism or broadcasting?
Of course, my alma mater, University of Florida.
Of course.
There's other schools out there, but you need a place, I think, a major university like the University of Florida. The gold standard within the group is the University of Missouri, which has always been thought to be the top journalism school. Then there's Northwestern in Chicago, Columbia, which is an Ivy League school. And then there's others out there.
Okay.
But you want to be in a place where the students on campus are handling the television news, are writing, if there's a campus newspaper, so there's still campus newspapers. But by the time you get there, you already have to be used to having your focus on news and current events and having who, what, where, when, and why. Yep. Those are always the questions to ask. Yep. And having their mindset to focus on those events.
How hard is it to actually get into your first newsroom job?
Very challenging. And I think it's more challenging today because the competition is always there. There's always a lot of people who want to be on television. But for what reasons? Do they want to cover the news? Do they want to be a news person? And that is, are you really there for that reason? If you're there for that reason, I think you'll find your way in.
Okay. And what was your first role in media? Was it an intern, camera guy, producer, reporter?
Well, fortunately, because the reputation of the University of Florida, I was able to get an internship the summer before I graduated at a station in West Palm Beach. So I was able to get into the daily energy that it takes to be in news. The news starts off in the morning in a newsroom. You come in there and pitch your ideas.
Okay.
And then they decide if they want that or something else. So you always usually have county government, city government. Then, of course, if something's happened with the police, if they're covering a major event with the police or the fire department, then you go cover those.
Okay. What's one thing that the average person does not understand about being a news reporter?
I think the effort it takes to be in the newsroom and in the work it takes to be on, it is really a 90%, 10%. The 10% you see is what's on the screen.
Okay.
The 90% it took for that news reporter and that photojournalist, that photographer to put that story together, it's really all 90% their energy and 10% actually demonstration of what that is. And always, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And then to be cognizant of that, you are there as a representative with no agenda. You're supposed to be there with no biases. Now, it's easy because most of the time people are hearing that a reporter has a bias, that the news organization they work for has a bias.
True.
But as a reporter there, as long as you are truly with no bias to report on both sides of the aisle of what's going on, you've done your job.
Okay. Does that make that job then stressful, you think?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say
Because
so.
everybody wants to pull you. They want you to have their opinion and their biases. And when you don't, then, of course, each side thinks you're on the other person's side, and that's the best job you've ever done. If both sides are mad at you, you've done your job.
Have you ever completely messed up on live television?
Oh, yes. That's why you work in those small markets, because you're cutting your teeth. And dealing with the emotions of it. You're, in most cases, the young people watching this, they're starting out in their 20s. And of course, hopefully they've been on radio, television in those markets and those campuses. But so many other extraneous things happen. And of course, you're dealing with growing up and understanding yourself and the market and the news, and those things happen. And you're human. And that's why when you see an experienced reporter out there, appreciate the effort it took to get there.
Yeah, definitely. What's the craziest thing that happened while reporting on scene?
Well, to keep it mild for the young people watching this, you're on police scenes and you're there for everything imaginable on a police scene. And the emotions that the police deal with in dealing with the people affected, and of course the onlookers who all want to see what's going on, and just that whole very volatile dynamic,
Right.
the
chaos.
Emotions, It's chaos. And you have to try your best to keep yourself calm and centered, because it's a whirlwind. It really is it's a tornado, and it's an emotional tornado in that regard. And people are very upset, and you have to stay focused on trying to get the essentials on the screen in an organized manner, so that you stay focused and you have a very clean product to understand what happened, who, what, where, when, why, and how.
Yeah.
And then there's always more details from that point. But that's how you cut your teeth in the business.
It sounds like you're doing a murder scene. Have you ever reported on a murder scene?
My first one was actually on my internship.
Really?
And the photographer out there was an experienced photographer.
Okay.
And he told me one thing. He said, "Carlos, in this business, you got to leave your heart at home," because we were there before the first responders got there for the person who had been harmed. So we were there. That person didn't make it, and it was one of those things. It's a baptism by fire.
Okay.
That's why I said you may really think you want to be in this business, but you're going to see everything.
Oh my goodness. So in that situation, like, just thinking outside of, like, are you scared? Are you guys have security, or are you just out there with a camera? Because I'm sure if there was a murder,
there is no security.
Oh my goodness! Like, you think the person might come back and like try to clear up all the evidence or something?
You're always being threatened, and that's one thing you have to. Male reporters, male photographers, female reporters, female photographers. Everybody's being threatened, and you have to learn how to handle yourself the best you can.
Okay, I didn't know that. And quick break, if you're enjoying this episode and learning how people really get into these careers, make sure you subscribe, follow, and share this with someone, figure out their next move. And if this interview goes viral, remember you saw it here first on this podcast, so you want to be. And also, Mr. Baine, have you ever pretended to look serious during a story while chaos was happening behind the camera?
Well, it wasn't acting. You're serious, because this is an important event in that area, and sometimes has wider implications, as say, going viral. Okay. So you're always serious. You are there to cover the news. As one of my great professors at the University of Florida told me, he said, remember this, no matter what happens, the news is sacred.
Okay. Now I see a lot of videos where like reporters are, out doing their thing. Someone jumps on and grabs the camera, says something crazy. What's the weirdest thing that somebody has done while you were doing a live interview? Has anything gone crazy?
Mostly emotionally, a lot of people cried.
Okay.
Were unable to pull themselves together. One time, I think you and I have discussed this before, but just there was a riot in Miami during the Super Bowl between the Bengals and the 49ers.
Okay.
In Miami. So fortunately, the person who caused that riot, who had harmed someone, they were brought to justice. But those cases go to jury, and it's not always a given that the jury is going to come back with a verdict that the community wants.
Right.
So myself and my photographer were in a business. And of course, the lady who owned the business, she was worried about her own physical safety, and her friends were trying to calm her down and say, no, they won't bother her for a lot of reasons, because it's a very small, intense community there. So we were threatened to say, if the verdict didn't come back the right way, that they were coming back after us. So at that point, we were counting the steps to how long it would take us to get back into the news van and get out of there.
Wow.
But we stayed. Fortunately, the verdict went the way that the community wanted.
Right.
And we were able to get out of there with no harm.
Why would they come after you guys, though?
People don't need a logic. They're emotional at that point. I mean, mobs and riots and the people in the mob, they don't have that kind of logic. That has already gone out the window. So, and that's where the reporters have to be there, because that is the news. That is the event affecting the community, in some cases, the country.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Can you actually make real good money as a news reporter?
They're going to see the higher ends of it if they watch read People magazine, and they see the national reporters. But no, it is not a business that you go into that will make you wealthy.
Okay.
In any respect, beginning and going up the ladder.
Okay.
And so if that is the chief desire, then they need to find out other aspects of media and presentation to find it, if their goal is to be well compensated for what they do.
Okay.
Because the passion has to be there for the product, no matter what that is.
Okay.
The passion is there. There'll be no rewards financially.
True.
But if you have the passion, and then there should be some rewards per se, quicker and larger. But for the news, that won't be the case.
Okay. And I know we talked about this before. What's the ladder look like? So it was kind of interesting to me when we were talking about this before. News reporter will be outside working in a hurricane, hot sun, right. Riots. And then the anchors are inside. So the anchors are above the news reporters.
Salary-wise, yes. They are the face of the station.
Okay.
That is, the world is changing, and I'm speaking from years of experience ago, where those advertising rates probably have come down as opposed to going up, simply because of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
You can put this on YouTube. You can go viral.
Right.
Well, you couldn't do that when we were starting. There was only a few stations, and cable was a big deal then. Now nobody even wants cable. They have Wi-Fi.
Cut the cord.
So in that aspect, that advertising revenue has been cut tremendously. And the TV stations and the TV networks knew that going in. So now the revenue isn't there like they used to. They still make great money, but it's not what it used to be.
Okay. Things have changed. And how long does it take realistically to become a successful in the industry?
You're going to spend your 20s doing that. That's why they have to make that decision as far as their hopes and their dreams, what they need financially, what they want to do for themselves, and eventually possibly for a family.
Okay.
That this is not that route.
And do you think local news is dying or evolving?
It'll never die. It has evolved. I think it has evolved. It's a matter of the attention of what people get. In our area, what's the biggest thing? In a few days, we start hurricane season. So from now till December 1st, it's going to be focused on, is that system going to become a hurricane?
Yeah.
As the news and weather, that's very important. Otherwise, it is a case-by-case basis. Has something happened with the state government, county government, city government, how that affects the community, along with local county events, community events that bring the people together in their particular county, in their particular city.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's pretty much, it's small in comparison to what people want to focus on.
Okay. You think that the news stations focus on fear, like you said, with the hurricanes, politicians, and things like that? Do the ratings go up when you focus on like fear for like hurricanes, issues, riots? I don't really see too many positive things on the news station. It's like fear, like the main focus.
It's not fear.
Okay.
It is the human condition.
Okay.
And when you think about what really gravitates people, if in the case of a hurricane, you know in advance what you're supposed to have in your house, what you're supposed to have in your windows, what you're supposed to do. Of course, the sky is falling, but you had time back in February, March, and April, and May to get ready for June.
Yeah.
You had all the time. But all of a sudden, you're crying on television now because you didn't get prepared. So it's not that they're trying to generate fear. It's a matter of fact, this is serious and this is going to happen.
Okay.
So you have to be prepared. That storm is coming if that event is happening, the responsibility of the station is to let you know.
Okay. And how do you think social media, how important do you think social media is for reporters now?
It sounds like it's a great way to get stories because now people can go directly to that reporter to say this is what's happening. And then that reporter is the gatekeeper, as we used to say, and I'm sure they say still. They're the gatekeeper to say, this is a story. This merits attention.
Okay. Now, do you think nowadays everything is social media driven? Do you think someone could be successful independent reporter online without a TV station, like just individual, like solo?
Of course, I'm biased because I came up, my teeth in the ranks, coming up through the ranks.
Right.
Because sooner or later, no, I don't think so. Because there is an expertise required in understanding the bigger picture of any particular issue. And that's required, I believe.
Okay. Now, what advice would you give someone trying to break into media right now? Like, what advice would you give them specifically?
If their burning desire when they get up in the morning is to know what's going on, not social media wise, that's good, but to know what's going on with your county government, with your city government, with your local first responders, that is your driving force to know that every day they will be very successful in the news business. I'm not saying they'll be rich in the news business, but they'll be very successful in the news business. Because their desire is to let their neighbor know what's going on.
Okay. Now, right now, Mr. Baine, I'm going to need your input. You got to give me a scale. From a scale of 1 to 10, you're going to rate me on this one, okay? You have to rate me. All right, so give me 1 second. Let me get my prop ready. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Breaking news tonight on WORN, the Wealth on Replay Network. After extensive investigation, we officially confirmed that becoming a news reporter requires lack of sleep, surviving live TV panic, and pretending everything is under control while chaos is happening off camera. Reporting live from the So You Want to Be studio, this has been another career breakdown. I'm your host, and this concludes tonight's broadcast of WORN. Good night, everybody. How old are you, Mr. Baine?
Because I like you, I'll give you a 3.
A 3! That was perfect.
Because I like you, I'll give you a 3.
A 3? What happened? How would you do it? Sign us off, Mr. Baine. Go ahead and do it.
I'm not signing you off. You got a 3, you're good. You're good.
You hear from Mr. Baine, the news reporter. He gave me a 3 at the end. I thought I was at least a 7. But I'll take the 3, Mr. Baine. Okay. And I do appreciate you joining us today. It was very fun. I did learn a lot. Guys, again, stay tuned. I do have guests every single week. If you want to join the podcast or you want to be, please contact me. All the links will be in the bio in the description section. You guys have a wonderful day.
So you wanna be, let's talk what it takes. No shortcuts here, just risks and mistakes. Real ones built it from grit, not luck. So you wanna be, level up, level up.